Resident Evil is a name synonymous with the survival horror genre, terrifying players around the world for 30 years. But the story of the T-virus, bioweapons, and the pharmaceutical giant Umbrella begins long before the iconic incident at the Spencer Mansion and the downfall of Raccoon City. It begins with an obsession for perfection and the ultimate control over human evolution. The story of the Resident Evil universe starts with three ambitious men, also E. Spencer, James Marcus, and Edward Ashford, who discovered the rare flower in West Africa called Stairway of the Sun, that hosted the virus that could revive dead organisms. This was the progenitor virus that all future research would be based on. This virus was the key to their ultimate goal of creating a superior race of humans. This led to the formation of the Umbrella Corporation in 1968, which was essentially a side hustle to fund the development of biological weapons and experiments on different living organisms, as the progenitor virus could infect and cause mutations to any organic life form. At around the same time, Umbrella established a secret research facility in the Arklay Mountains close to Raccoon City in the Midwestern United States, with Oswald E. Spencer's mansion serving as a forefront. Dr. James Marcus was placed in charge of the facility. The researchers first worked on lethal viral weapons based on the progenitor virus, with further developments shifting towards creating enhanced mutants based on different plants, animals, and later humans as part of the Tyrant project. To achieve this, Dr. Marcus combined the progenitor virus with leech DNA, leading to the creation of the infamous T-virus. Unfortunately, in 1988, James Marcus was betrayed and murdered by his own colleagues, William Birkin and Albert Wesker, who took his research data and dumped his body along with the Queen Leech, Marcus's latest experiment. The real trouble started in 1998. After Marcus was betrayed and murdered by his own protégés, the Queen Leech merged with his body and started attacking Umbrella facilities around the Arklay Mountains area, infecting the unaware personnel with the T-virus. As a result, this led to the contamination of the Arklay research facility and the surrounding forest. When reports of strange occurrences and gruesome murders surfaced, Raccoon City's elite STARS unit was sent to investigate. The Bravo team went dark, prompting Alpha Team, including Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and their captain Albert Wesker to investigate. What they found was a house of horrors. The mansion was crawling with undead personnel and grotesque bioorganic weapons, set loose once the facility's security systems failed. It was here that Wesker's true allegiance was revealed. He was a double agent for Umbrella who had intentionally led his unit into the mansion to gather combat data for the BOWs. Wesker faked his own death after being seemingly killed by the ultimate T-002 Tyrant, and injected himself with an experimental virus, gaining superhuman abilities. The surviving STARS members destroyed the mansion and escaped, but the real nightmare was only beginning. A few months later, in September 1998, disaster struck Raccoon City. A botched attempt by Umbrella security forces to retrieve the new, more potent G-virus from Dr. William Birkin from an underground research facility called Nest led to the contamination of the city's water supply, turning Raccoon City into an infected, chaotic nightmare. Enter Leon S. Kennedy, a rookie police officer assigned to the Raccoon City Police Department, and a college student, Claire Redfield, looking for her brother Chris. This unlikely pair fought their way through the infected streets of Raccoon City and made it all the way into the Nest facility. They crossed paths with a mysterious spy named Ada Wong, battled Birkin, who had mutated into a grotesque creature after self-injecting the G-virus, and eventually escaped with Birkin's young daughter Sherry, destroying the underground lab in the process. At the same time, Jill Valentine, the survivor of the mansion incident that happened 2 months earlier, was attempting her own escape from the city, while being relentlessly hunted by the Nemesis, a powerful new Tyrant variant explicitly programmed by Umbrella to eliminate any remaining STARS members who could expose their secrets. As the situation got completely out of control, the US government decided to sanitize the city. On October 1st, 1998, a missile strike wiped Raccoon City from the face of the earth, with Jill escaping just moments before the explosion. The world was finally waking up to the truth about the Umbrella Corporation. Raccoon City was the catalyst for Umbrella's downfall. The company's reputation was shattered, and the resulting investigations ultimately led to its bankruptcy and official dissolution. The incident on Rockford Island, which happened mere months after the Raccoon City tragedy, only made the situation worse, with another outbreak at Umbrella's remote research facility that resulted from Albert Wesker's attempt to retrieve the experimental T. Veronica virus, developed by the adopted daughter of Edward Ashford, Alexia. As it was customary for all of the previous outbreaks, this led to the destruction of the facility. But the viral research didn't disappear with Umbrella. Years later, Leon, now a US government agent, was sent to a remote village in Spain to rescue the president's kidnapped daughter, Ashley Graham. He found the villagers mind controlled by the parasitic organism known as Las Plagas, utilized by fanatical cult Los Eliminados. While not technically a virus, this parasite provided another terrifying form of biocontrol, turning the infected into grotesque creatures. The post-Umbrella world didn't become safer. It actually turned out to be far more dangerous than anyone could have predicted. Meanwhile, Chris Redfield, and the survivor of the Spencer Mansion incident, joined the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance and traveled to Kijuju, a country in West Africa, partnering with Sheva Alomar to investigate a new bioweapon threat involving improved Las Plagas infecting the citizens. Their investigation revealed that Albert Wesker was behind the plot, now working with the pharmaceutical company Tricell. Wesker's ultimate goal was to release a new lethal virus called Ouroboros globally, aiming to force human evolution, kill off those who couldn't handle the mutation, and rule the survivors. In a dramatic showdown inside a volcano that involved multiple boulder punches and RPG shots, Chris and Sheva finally put an end to both Wesker's ambitions and his life. But the bioweapon threat escalated even further in the following years, with simultaneous C-virus attacks across the US, Eastern Europe and China, orchestrated by the New Umbrella Corporation, linking multiple heroes including Leon, Chris and even Wesker's son Jake Miller as they fought to contain the global catastrophe and stop the spread of the new highly adaptive C-virus. The franchise took a sharp personal turn with the story of Ethan Winters, a man who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. In 2017, Ethan received a video message from his wife Mia, who had been missing and presumed dead for 3 years. The message led him to a dilapidated estate in Louisiana. Ethan discovered that Mia had been held captive by the Baker family, who were infected by a strange mold that granted them regenerative abilities, caused severe genetic mutations, and ultimately drove them mad. The mold was a result of a biological weapon project known as Evelyn, a young girl who was the source of the infection. Ethan followed through the Baker house, ultimately defeating Evelyn with the help of a reformed Blue Umbrella task force led by Chris Redfield. Resident Evil Village continues Ethan's story. Years after the events in the Baker mansion, living in hiding with Mia and her newborn daughter Rosemary, Ethan is confronted by Chris Redfield and his squad, who suddenly attack, kill Mia, and abduct Rosemary. On his journey to find out what's going on, Ethan is led to a mysterious Eastern European village dominated by 4 horrific lords. He learns that his daughter has been taken by the village's leader, Mother Miranda, who discovered the original mold, the Megamycete, over a century ago, and plans to use Rose as the perfect vessel to resurrect her own deceased daughter, whom she lost to the Spanish flu in 1919. In a shocking turn of events, it is revealed that Mother Miranda was the mentor of Oswald E. Spencer, inspiring his pursuit of human evolution and founding the Umbrella Corporation, meaning the events of the entire franchise trace back to Miranda's initial experiments with the mold. To save his daughter, Ethan confronts and defeats Mother Miranda. However, mortally wounded and realizing the Megamycete must be destroyed, Ethan makes the ultimate sacrifice. He gives the Rose to Chris and stays behind to detonate the bomb, destroying the Megamycete and himself. The story of Resident Evil is a decades-long saga. It is a chronicle of corporate greed, unethical science, and the devastating consequences of seeking ultimate power through bioweapons. But it is also a story of survival, courage, and a relentless fight against the horrors that the Umbrella Corporation and those who followed in its wake unleashed upon the world. The legacy of Raccoon City lives on, and as new threats emerge, the battle against bioterrorism continues in a new game at the time of this recording. Resident Evil Requiem features one of the fan favorites, Leon S. Kennedy, as well as a new character, an FBI agent Grace Ashcroft, in their pursuit to unveil the truth about the incident that set in motion most of the key events in the Resident Evil story, while facing ghosts from the past. Now you have a basic understanding of the Resident Evil franchise and are all set to experience the latest chapter in the legendary series.